just saying. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to, I could actually say, my return episode of Where I Come From, MKE. It is I, Mr. Tonedef. I am back in the studio on a Saturday. Let me clap myself up because I would still be at home today if I wasn't blessed by the two lovely young ladies who are with me today. This is going to be a pretty interesting episode, mostly because the message that needs to be said today definitely needs to be spread. I mean, if you are currently watching this, you are probably watching this on about 18 different social medias right now because I made sure I put this out everywhere. But more importantly, it's the message that these ladies are talking about today. It's a message that's actually very dear to me because I have a whole family of women. I'm talking like an 80-20 split. So when things like this actually come across my table, I honestly jump up at the opportunity to allow things to be said and spoken in a way that most people don't get a chance to hear. I've known both of these young ladies for a minimum of about a year. One of them is a distant cousin to me and Sherman Phoenix. We're not going to talk and put family business out how this is her first time in my studio. But I'm gonna let her slide today. I'm gonna let her slide today. But the other young lady I have seen around. If you haven't seen her around, you've definitely seen her message around. And I want to allow her to go ahead and not only just introduce herself, but introduce why you're here today. Bring your mic up to you.
Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, because you know you got a small voice, so I need you.
I do, right?
Well,
You hear
yeah,
me?
yeah, I hear you now. We hear you. America hears you now.
So, thank you again. Thank you for allowing us to come and be a part of this conversation and bring your listeners, some conversation that maybe they're not used to having. My name is Samantha Collier. I am the founder and executive director of Team Teal 365 Inc., which is a nonprofit organization that empowers sexual assault survivors and also helps them navigate through the community when it comes to different resources and what that may look like. Also, being the executive director of Team Teal, I'm also a thriver of sexual violence and domestic violence myself in my own personal life. I am grateful that God seeing fit to save me through it all and to use me as a message, because I remember when, so today I come and I sit with one of our amazing awardees this year for Paint the City Teal Day. One of our biggest focuses, again, with Paint the City Teal Day, which is a proclaimed day here in the city of Milwaukee, honored by our mayor in 2022, which is in April the 2nd, 2023, and it will always be April the 2nd forever. And that is because Paint the City Teal Day brings awareness.
See, so make sure y'all put that on y'all permanent calendar, not just the 2023 one. Just go ahead and lock that day in from now on. Yes. April 2nd.
Yes.
Paint the City Teal Day.
Forever and ever, and then ever. And the dope thing that my team and I always laugh about is that it started as the city, but it's actually an international thing.
That's what's up.
One of our members were actually in Cabo last year, Patrice, and she tilled her whole hotel room. We have Atlanta, North Carolina, Pittsburgh. So we have other states that's going to be involved also during Paint the City Teal Day.
Okay.
But we have more than enough time. I'm grateful that the color teal is being recognized because teal is the color for Sexual Assault Awareness Month, guys, listeners. We Believe You is our hashtag with Team Teal 365, and Sexual Assault Awareness Month is actually the acronym of my name. So God just be knowing what God be doing.
And you know what's funny? I was looking at that when you inboxed me and you were giving me all the hashtags and everything. So I said, I'm going to talk about Sam with Sam.
Okay, that's right.
That's what I was going to name the episode at first. Like, nah. Paint the City Teal Day is actually is the perfect title in regards to it. What got you here?
So what got me here today was just like really bringing and promoting the safety and the healthy relationships that it takes to develop, right?
Okay.
Our focus this year with Paint the City Teal Day is elements of a healthy relationship.
Right.
That's where Ticey Gossie comes in.
Okay.
Not just is she one of our awardees, but her daughter, Taylor Gossie, is as well. Because they are a walking, talking, healthy relationship, especially when it comes to our Black and brown mother and daughter relationships.
Yes, that is definitely very important. Especially when you look at our people. A lot of times in history, our people have showed that when it hits those teenage years, it becomes more of a battle than a partnership in regards to it, even to the point where, in generation curse, we need to break kicking our kids out at 18. Definitely, I am not for that. I have two girls, so I wasn't gonna kick them out regardless. They are daddy girls to the heart. But just the simple fact of knowing that there are so many teens between the age of 18 and 21 that are out here making bad life choices, not because they choose that route, but because they had to. It was one of those like, I'm in survival mode because I didn't feel loved in my own home environment. And the fact that we have women like Ticey here who literally just guides her child every single way they go. Because I've seen them run around here, and I've heard her yell at her child, but it's out of love, not out of hate or anything like that. But and having an organization like this that promotes that, like, this is not the norm to put them out at 18. Like, you're supposed to let them stay there until they are able to be on their own, because everybody else does. No other culture but ours puts our kids out at a young age. They even set their kids up to continue to stay in the house. I mean, there's other things like you can't leave the house until you're married and stuff like that. But even then, you're still grooming them to be successful, even from the household. Hispanic families, for an example, we all are still living under the same roof as long as possible. If you get married, you bring that person in and you become part of the family business. And then the kids are groomed to be part of the family business. And at the end of the day, the wealth stays in the household, and the family keeps everything going, and the tradition keeps going. We get disconnected as soon as Big Mama's no longer here. And that's something we definitely need to break. We need to get back to family orientatedness, fixing what's going on in our household, and breaking these terrible generational curses that we don't even realize is deeply rooted into us.
That part. Again, why we're honoring Ticey, because stories like Ticey's and Taylor's always get wrote out the script.
They do.
It's very rare that you have a thriving mother being a healthy relationship, not just for Taylor and AZ, which is her children,
Right.
but also other young people. They come to her. I've seen it, and I just want your listeners to hear from this amazing mother, entrepreneur, co-facilitator. She
Right.
facilitates, she's really in the community, making it a better place, not just talking it, she's actually walking it every day. So I just want Ticey to talk about like what that feels like to have an element of a healthy relationship, and,
Right.
and the time and the patience it takes. Like, it's amazing to see. But
well, hey everybody. My name is Ticey Gotzi, and I am absolutely grateful to be here. I want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here. This is
No
my
problem.
first time ever being inside this space. And I'm grateful. Where I come from, MKE podcast. Thank you.
No problem.
Where I come from is right here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Born and raised right down on Buffum. And that's a whole nother story.
Ooh.
But
You ain't gotta tell me. 10th of
yeah, I
kids,
was
my
one.
world.
Yeah. I was one of those kids that was brought up in the hood, went straight to foster care. My biological mom passed away, so I really didn't have a mother role model.
Okay.
Until I got into high school. I met a young man and his family took me in. And then I got adopted in the midst of me being in high school.
Okay.
So I also was able to learn how to love all over again, being a teenager.
That is something that our generation needs to learn how to do too.
Yes. Both families took me in and they showed me what love was.
Okay.
And I think that's what we are missing now today as far as parenting our children. We have to love them right where they are. When they mess up, we still have to love them. When they do amazing, we still have to love them. And that's what I practice every single day with my kids.
Okay. For the listeners, how old are your two?
My daughter is 17. Taylor is a junior at Dr. Howard Fuller Collegiate Academy. My son is 21. He is a thriving young man. He's amazing. He just finished his internship with a big construction company.
Okay,
That's a
definitely
black-owned
clap.
construction
Let's clap
company.
that
Yes. He is amazing, and he also graduated from Dr. Howard Fuller
up. Okay.
Collegiate Academy. So he's a alumni there. He was there on an honor roll, almost a whole 4 years. He was
Okay.
there. So yeah, the thing with me was I made sure I was in my kid's life. I
Facts.
went and found me a third shift job so I can be there from that 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. to make sure they got off to school okay. They were clean, they were loved, they got that hug, they got a warm meal. I see y'all when y'all get home. I was there when it was phone calls need to be made. I was pulling up,
Right.
I made sure I was involved because I didn't have that
Right.
in my life.
Those hugs, and I want people to listen. Y'all got to understand those hugs mean so much to people. I've seen situations where there was a kid that was in one of my classes that I was interning because I was doing my schooling in psychology training for one moment, and literally this little boy made sure he got a hug from his teacher every single day.
Mhm.
We come to find out that he never got hugged at home. So the fact that this one teacher, and she didn't look at it as nothing more than just my student wanted a hug, I gave him a hug. And in life, that was always a very important thing to him. Even now with my kids, no matter how much I have to get on them, because I have to
Yeah.
remind myself they still kids. Mine's a
Yes.
7 and 10, so they
Yes.
do things. Whoo! You want two little kids?
Nope.
I got. I'm just saying, I got
No.
two more for you. Um, I make sure that everything I do, I explain to them why it's being done. I explain to them about love. I don't think I've ever once had to put my hands on my kids.
Mhm.
Because that's one generational curse I really want to break.
Okay.
Whoopings is just psychologically something that's just been handed down from generation to generation because during slavery we thought that was discipline because that's what happened to us.
Okay.
So when it came time for us to discipline our kids, we immediately went back into that exact same mode. And a lot of times, because my mom used to do it, and when we had a conversation, me and my mom had to have a conversation at one point in time too about like just the parenting and the discipline in regards to things going on in life. Because there were times that she did do things that I didn't feel was necessary. It wasn't that severe, but then over time, the answer that was given to me was the answer a lot of our parents would give to us if we had that same conversation: is I was doing the best that I could do. And I'm like, that's true. You were. Life was different. The 80s was a wild time for the black community.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
Thanks.
But it's not anymore. We have more opportunities. We have more abilities to parent, teach, and communicate with our kids more. We need to communicate with our kids more now than ever
Communication is
before
everything. Yep.
because there are so many things our kids are going through and seeing and experiencing, and the media and society is making it even more difficult for them to understand. Back in the days, if there was a guy who dressed like Prince, we was just like, that's just what he into. Now there's a guy dressed like Prince. There may be a whole story behind it now. So now we have to explain to them what's going on and why is it acceptable and why do we not judge them based on this. My girls go to Spanish immersion. Okay. I wanted them to be prepared to have a second language ingrained in them
Okay.
even before it's even required. Okay. Because today's society, you got to have more than just one language. We're the only country that only speaks one language naturally. Everybody else speaks two or three because you never know who you're going to communicate with. So I want them to be able to do Spanish. If anything, you can be in the room where it happens and know what everybody is saying no matter what.
Right.
If you don't do anything, you know how to get the hell up out this situation.
Right.
Right.
In regards to it, because if they don't nobody know what's going on, the Hispanics in the room go know where to get the hell up out of here. So you got to be able to communicate with them. But it's the fact that like my youngest has always been my most complicated one. Okay. She had a few issues in her younger years that kind of make her resent society at a 7-year old. Okay. I have to hold her a little bit more. I have to hug her a little bit more often. I have to explain things a little bit more to her. Another generational issues where we were always told kids are supposed to be seen, not heard.
Mhm.
And a lot of times kids were going through things such as sexual assault. And because that they were afraid to come and talk to the parents to tell them Mr. Such and such or Mrs. Such and such is doing A, B, C, and D to them. I don't ever want my kids to feel that you can't never talk to your dad about anything.
Right.
I don't never want you to be scared about what reaction that I'm going to give you, because my reaction is always going to be, let me hear your side of the story. I don't care what this teacher said. I don't care what this parent said. I don't care what this adult said. Let me hear your side of the story. Tell me from your point of view. And 9 times out of 10, I'm going to believe my child, because my oldest refused to lie to save her life. She'll tell on herself to make sure she's not in trouble. Like, look, Dad,
Okay.
I was in the
That's
kitchen. I was
good.
making hot chocolate, but that broke on its own.
Right.
You know what? I told you not to get in that hot chocolate. All right, cool. It probably fell on its own. You're not in trouble for that, but you can't have hot chocolate for a week now. It's and she understood. And sometimes I don't even have to punish her. Like, Lily, why'd you do that? Well, I was supposed to. And so, what do you think a person who's not listening is supposed to do? They shouldn't be allowed to be on their tablets. For how long do you think?
Mm.
About a week. That works for me. Okay, put your tablet up. You know, like, I don't have to punish you.
Yeah.
You knew what you did was wrong. And we don't have that kind of communication. Now it's to the point where my kids, Daddy, what time are you coming home? I can't go to bed till I know that you're safe. I can't do this without this doing this. Daddy, if I go do this, what will happen if I do? Now we talk.
Yeah.
My 7 and my 10-year-old. My 10-year-old talks to me now more than ever. And everybody keeps saying, well, when they get teenagers, that's going to change. No, it's not.
Right. It
'Cause
shouldn't.
It's not. You want to know why it's not? Because my children are not going to feel the need to have to hide anything from me. I want you to talk to me. I want you to be, I want my kid to be that kid that if you and your teenagers are out here and y'all got yourself in a fucked up situation, I'm going to call my daddy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to be worried about the fact that, if my parents find out. No, I'm going to call my daddy. He's going to come get us out this situation.
Right.
That's all I want you to be able to do. I don't even care if you out in Chicago having big fun.
Right.
You old people know what that came
Right.
from. Out there having big
Right.
fun, and your
That's
car
good.
is stuck, and you out here. Nope, you be able to.
Yeah.
Daddy, the car stopped working. Where you at? We in St. Louis. I'll talk to you. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. I'm
Drop
on
me.
my way.
Drop the location.
Yeah.
And then I'm
Yep.
there. I'll cuss you out when we get back home. But I don't want you being stuck in St. Louis trying to figure out how you gonna get home. I don't want you down in Mexico.
Mm.
Okay.
Don't go to Mexico, y'all.
I don't want you down in Mexico. Another reason why you're Spanish immersion. You down in Mexico.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, what's going on?
You know, like, hey, I
Right.
don't think we on the right side of Mexico. Come on, let's go.
Right.
You know?
And those are the conversations, and that's again why Ticey is the example of the elements of
Exactly.
a healthy relationship, because it's something that's developed over
Right.
time, right? With your children, with yourself. It
Right.
takes the resilience to say, not just am I going to listen to you, but tell me what you would have did differently.
Right.
And the communication that we have is unbreakable, right?
Right.
It's that level of trust. Like in so many households, when children or teens tell mom or dad what's going on, now the whole family knows, and it's a whole intervention. Sometimes that level of trust within mother and daughter or parent and child is really, really, really important. And we
Right.
should keep that in-house, because unhealthy relationships begin at home. And if children can't trust their parents, then they're going to be growing up not trusting people outside of the home.
Exactly.
Again, why it's so important that Ticey is the example of that, and many others, but just a physical walking example, right?
Exactly.
Yep. And so basically, I'm just grateful for Team Teal 365 for even honoring myself and my daughter. It was shocking to me because I didn't even know anybody was really watching, right? I just tried my best to be a great parent. I also want to shout out my own personal company, Control Plus C,
Go right
upstairs
ahead.
in the building. We are a copy and printing store with my partner, Crystal Ship. I was going to say Control Plus C.
Control Plus
C.
With my partner, Crystal Ship.
Hey, the logo looked like that, so
Yep. So, and also New Life. I am a facilitator for them as well.
Okay.
And that gives me the opportunity to spread love to other, not only young girls, but these young men out here.
Oh, I'm not even gonna talk about
They
how
are
much
really
we.
being left behind as far as just showing them love, because they come off so hardcore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And don't nobody really want to
Woo.
love on them because they don't even know where to start.
I feel personally, this is just my personal. Black men themselves are not loved out loud like they need to be.
Agreed.
We are actually, before even given an opportunity to learn how to be men, we're already putting two strikes against them. Black women are already talking about how no good we are at times, basing their decisions off of other males' responsibility. Then you have fatherless households. I mean, that's the second strike. So before a young man even had an opportunity to become a young man, he's already on his own in most
Mhm.
scenarios. So we have no choice but to turn to other misguided black men as our partnerships. We do need to have more loud programs. Not just have programs, but programs that are emphasized and talked about and known and spoken upon, where a black man can go and be safe and be a black man and learn how to be a black man. Even create some form of a rites of passage as a black boy going into a black man to make adulthood and manhood feel important to us. You know,
Right.
when you have something that they can say that this is my own and I made this journey and I don't have to be a part of a preconceived notation to be able to be accepted into this kind of an organization or this type of life, it makes them feel a little bit more proud about ourselves. Like, we have the huge issue with the Kia boys. Knock on wood, we don't have it again this year. I don't own a Kia anyway, so I ain't concerned. But I still don't want nobody's car getting stolen for no
Right.
reason.
Right.
But if you think about it, a lot of those young men were very educated. They knew how the system worked. They knew what could happen to them if they ever got caught. They even had goals of what they wanted to do with their lives. When I watched that little documentary and he said, "Yeah, I want to, work with HVAC." I'm like, "Boy, do you know the kind of education you need to be able to do that?" And he was like, "Yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. I know that because I'm a minor, I can't get in trouble. I can just, it's gonna go away at 18 and I'm gonna go live my normal life." Imagine if he had something else to be a part of. Imagine had he been a part of a program or something that could have took that goal that he's looking for and says, "Okay, you're not old enough to physically work with this, but let me at least get you in this program that can teach you how it goes. Let's get you in position. Let's get you interning with somebody. Let's put you in place of success before you even get the opportunity to be a success." Whereas then you don't need to have a 2.5 GPA to be accepted into this program because it's a government funded. No, no, no. I need you to be involved in something because I need you to be involved in something.
Right.
That's big.
And I'm just saying that's what we need. And I guarantee you, if you take a lot of our young black boys and give them this space, if you take two of them from a crew of 10, guarantee the other 8 will eventually be there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because all they got to do is find out 2 people liked it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
If 2 people liked it and this is what they doing, 4 more gonna come just because they ain't got nothing else to do that weekend. Now you got 6 of them. These 6 are gonna be here, and you see that they now creating their own little special bond and their inside jokes. And the other 4 are gonna be like, "Dog, what y'all talking about?" 2 of them gonna walk away. The other 2 is going to be like, I want to know what I can do, but I don't want to do it the way you guys do it. I want to do it a little bit differently. Then we partner you up with 2 other guys. If we have more black men that takes care of black men,
Right.
we would have a better community as a whole. Because when it comes to relationships, a lot of black boys never had a chance to begin with. And I don't like that.
And that's the conversation.
Right.
And that's why when we do talk about the numbers, 1 in 5 men that will be sexually assaulted before the age of 18 and 1 in 3 women, a lot of times our young boys are like, "What? Nobody's sexually assaulting me. What you talking about?" But the more we unwrap that onion, especially when we facilitate our new step curriculum, and that's all about sex trafficking prevention education program, which is a preventative curriculum, right? We talk to our young men about those grooming techniques that adults use on our young black and brown boys,
Yes.
where it's looked at as their now you're a man at 13 or 14 or 9 or 11 being sexually assaulted or groomed to be sexually assaulted. We have to have more male presence within even Team Teal. I'm grateful that we have male supporters, male allies, males that come to the conversation, because our young men need to know that they have a space, and the things that they endured, someone else did too. And it wasn't just them.
Right.
And they not a punk. And they're not a this, and they're not weak, and they're not, you know what I'm saying? Because we can talk about it until we black in the face.
Right.
But I'm appreciative of those that's in the conversation that can talk to the young men, the Ajamus, the Kamars, the Androns, the Marcels, the Montreals, the Kwamanans, those that's really out here doing that work with our young men,
Right.
Just really bridging that together so they can see more of that and less of shame and less of blame. Right, Ticey?
Yeah, right. I think that loving our boys out loud is good.
I think
Because
I'm
remember
And
last
we
week
have to.
we had that little guy, that
Mhm.
young man that came in there. He tell him he decorated this whole sexual assault awareness month call to action board, like
Yep.
poster board. It was so glorious, and he loved it. He just kept
He
going.
was
Didn't
so
he?
eager to just be there. It was really dope. But we have to get it out of their minds that, like loving on each other isn't what they call gay,
yes.
right?
Mhm.
Like you can definitely hug your homeboy
Mhm.
and it not be, no other way but just showing love.
And I think a lot, like I said, once again, that is the missing middle. Shout out to all those men you name. I know every last one of them personally, so
Yeah,
I
all
know,
of them.
I know they're making major impacts in regards to the cities and whatnot. But loving out loud definitely is something that I strongly believe we need to collectively do more. Period.
Yeah,
Just
agreed.
period.
Agreed.
Everybody needs to do it more. People
Agreed.
need to accept the fact that who you love and how you love make a difference. You talking about this whole conversation brung up something that was very fascinating to me a couple of years ago that happened on my timeline. We were scrolling down memory lane one day and we were talking about, like guys always talk about their conquests.
Mhm.
Let's just label it as this.
Mhm.
So a couple of gentlemen were talking about how the fact that when they were younger, they engaged in sexual activities with older women.
Mhm.
And how that was just a rite of passage for a lot of us growing up when we're teenage boys and we got these older men. I think it came. What was I? It came up during Power, the
Mm.
Kanan story, when Kanan's character was in a relationship with a girl, but was being in a sexual relationship with her mom, and her mom definitely was an older woman, and the story behind that kind of struck a chord that made us start talking about it was the fact that when the girl caught them in the bed, it wasn't the ugh mom what are you doing, it was the not again
Mm.
was the response, like not again, I'm sick of you and tired of you always. And then we all just like collectively all started talking about it, and the thing about it was somebody said in the middle of that thing, in the middle of that whole conversation, it's like y'all was teenage boys. You were 16, 17, 15, 18. These were 30-year-old women.
Mhm.
Y'all got raped.
Mhm. Yes.
No matter how you look at it or how proud you stand,
Mhm.
you were raped.
Yeah.
You were targeted and you were raped
Yeah.
to the point that a one guy, it took him about 30 minutes to process it. He went through every single step
Mhm.
of grief to understand he got raped. And it sat with him for a minute.
Mhm.
And he changed the way he looks at things. And then he also started processing how the fact that because of that one experience, how his relationships going forward were affected by that. His
Absolutely.
demand, his need, his aggressiveness, his trying to process that because this was an older woman. And during this time frame, a lot of men bragged about being with an older woman that you did not realize that you were being taken advantage of
Right.
only for one reason and one reason only. So now you look at you look at sex and relationships with a jaded eye.
Mhm.
And all because of this one thing that you took completely out your head
Right.
as a process. And now, as older men, we're now looking back at just a lot of things that we just accepted
Right.
as the norm, and it's not.
And it's not.
It is
It's
not at
not
all.
okay. It's not okay
It's
at
not.
all. And once again, that goes back to our culture.
Right.
We made that okay, right? It was okay for the young men to be with older women. It's okay. But when it was a young girl with the older guy, that's not okay.
Nah, we quick to fight about that.
It's not okay. It's not okay either way.
Either way, and then that's when we
Either way
find
you put it.
ourselves empowering adult men and saying that wasn't your fault, and we believe you.
And
That's
that's
right.
literally what the whole conversation
And we
was while he was
believe
right. It
you.
was not your fault.
Yeah.
It is not your fault. And then it's like the unlearning of things.
Yeah.
That's just like the unlearning of healthy
Yeah.
relationships. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We have to unlearn these things because it's been cycled and cycled into our bloodstream as to this is the way things should go until you get into another space where you can breathe and you can say, no, this happened to me.
Right.
And it wasn't my fault. And nobody judges you or shames you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why, again, Team Teal is present for the last 16 years. We're not going nowhere.
And you don't, and you shouldn't.
Nowhere.
You shouldn't.
Because it must stay present so more people can know that we believe you and you matter.
Absolutely.
And in those steps of rebuilding you, let us help you. Let us navigate or get you where you need to be as far as men survivors, as far as elder survivors. You know what I'm saying? Because then that's that whole conversation when what happens in my house stays in my house. And Big Mama didn't know Big Mama didn't know how to save the kids, so the kids don't know how to save their kids, and then now those kids are actually having their own kids.
Facts.
So there's a cycle that we're trying to
we gotta
break
switch,
it.
and that's why we're in the conversation of prevention.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Prevention, even with sexual violence, can be prevented with the right education, with the right communication, with
Big
the right
facts.
safety net, with the right adults around our young people, where they feel like they can talk about things and get solutions and not talk about things and be blamed or have a Facebook post about them.
Right. What's the end goal?
The end goal definitely for is to build stronger families, starting with ourselves individually. But as far as Paint the City Teal Day and the month of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, it's about the action. You know, it's about the conversation. It's about making sure that people know that Sexual Awareness Month is here, and a lot of that has to do with intimate partner violence and boundaries that's never been established in homes that aren't healthy, where we have adults inside of those homes that are hurting our families, hurting our young people, hurting our teenagers, and they still have not an outlet to let out.
That is definitely that's a very deep conversation within itself, because I think a lot of us are not realizing that we are not choosing house over happiness. We have a lot of couples that are only together because they bring me some kind of joy, but not realizing that this individual's presence is toxic to the whole entire family. Right. Toxic is one of the words I hate the most right now, because it's overused, it's oversaturated, but nobody truly knows what it looks like outside of the blue face Christian kind of a situation. They think that that's only what toxic look like. No, toxic is anything that disturbs your peace at the end of the day. And it's not only just between me and my mate. It's my kids, it's my mother, it's my cousin, it's who's ever as a part of my everyday life. If this individual brings some sort of toxicity in regards to it, we need to not just only expunge it, but figure out why is this a problem. Sometimes people just need to know that this is not right. Like you said, you just need to know it's not right. You don't have to eliminate the individual out your whole entire life. Sometimes just letting you know that your behavior is not acceptable in this particular situation, and this is why it's not acceptable. I am then going to give you the option to either correct the behavior, explain to me why you feel like this behavior should be okay, or remove yourself from the equation. But a lot of people don't. They don't know how to live alone. That's the word. That's what I'm looking for. There's so many people who don't know how to live alone that they're willing to accept anything to not be there. They will be the pick-me's of the world. They will be the nice guys of the scenario, knowing for a fact that this situation is not the best for them. It actually sets you back more than anything. And I'm glad that you have programs and organizations like yours that help people understand, like, you don't have to accept that. And then at the end of the day, think about the kids in the situation too. I remember one of the biggest things that there'll be couples who they're just not happy together anymore, but they'll stay together for the kids. You don't have to do that.
Because at the end of the day, the kids are going to laugh at you.
At the end of the day, the kids already knew.
You stayed for me. Instead of dealing with peace and dealing with yourself, like you sacrificed your life, because at the end of the day, they would rather for you to be healthy. And that's the thing with being alone, just like one of our other strong supporters and really strong activists in the community, Claire Flemings, she wrote a book. It's called Reflections. A lot of people don't like reflecting on their own reflections. We like to point our sister and say, you need to do this and you need to do that and you should do that and you should get better. Even if you're not a parent, but you're still a human being and you want to see the community better, you have to reflect on yourself and see where maybe you can make some better choices, or maybe you should start using the power of no.
Yeah. No is good.
I have had somebody tell me that they do not like to be alone because they have to accept the fact that they're the reason they're alone.
And there you see that, and that's a whole podcast
heavy
by itself
to
unpack that.
It is.
Because if you don't like you, How will somebody else love you? You got to like you. You got to love even those deep parts. And just like we talked about before with the older men that went back to their childhood, you got to love on that young version of you, especially
Mm-hmm.
if you're a survivor of any life violence. But especially when it comes to molestation and rape, you have to go back and love on them and let them know you made it through, and let
Right.
them know we made it,
Right.
and let them know,
Right.
look at yourself and say, I love you. And we're not the violence that happens to us. You know what I'm saying? And that's our biggest thing with being very intentional about making sure that Sexual Assault Awareness Month is just not April, it's 365 for us.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It never turns off. You know what I'm saying? There's always a way to thrive. There's always someone else that needs to be connected. There's always someone else that needs to be believed. And there's always someone else that needs to unlearn what cycles of violence have trained us, right?
Right. Absolutely.
What do you ladies have coming up? Because April's right around the corner.
Yeah, well, you already know. This here is one of our amazing Paint the City Teal Day designs, which this guy named Travis, he makes these. So our annual Paint the City Teal Day is Sunday, April 2nd, which is going to be amazing. It's going to be at the Ambitions Center of Milwaukee. If you guys don't know about Marcel and Rashida's co-working space, it's amazing. It's going to be from 1 until 4. But if you want to follow us on all social media outlets, Facebook and also LinkedIn and Instagram at teamteal365.com, we have our registration form up for Paint the City Teal Day. And we're also starting Sexual Assault Awareness Month on Saturday, April 1st, with a walk.
Okay.
Yes, we're doing a community walk. And then throughout the month, Denim Day is going to be one of our really, really big days. We're actually tilling the whole downtown. This is our 3rd year now, from the Home Bridge
Yeah, I
to
remember seeing it
all
when it
of the
happened last time.
businesses. Yeah, to all of the businesses. So that'll be happening on Denim Day. We're going to have some live entertainment down at the Home Bridge, some apple cider, and some really cool ways that people can bring call to action to their neighborhood, to their space. That's the biggest thing with us, right? Like
Right.
making sure that people understand you can do this right where you are. I'll give you a great example, right? Me and Ticey sprung some things today that we wanted to use to get the party going when it comes to Paint the City Teal Day, right? You see these? Usually these are used for birthday parties, bar mitzvahs, Kwanzaa, different events. But we're going to use this to decorate his microphones. Why did you say? Why not? Because everyone that comes in here from this day forward, going through Sexual Assault Awareness Month, they're going to say, Tone, what's up with this teal that's wrapped around the microphone?
And I'm leaving it on there
And
too.
then Tone could say, oh, you don't know about Sexual Assault Awareness Month?
You wrapping all the way around it?
So that's what this is about. See how simple that was? You see that? Ticey's on hers, but I'm on this. So that's what we're going to do. We make sure that things happen when we're present. You want to know why, listeners? Because if we don't, who will? Boom.
Right.
Paint the City Teal Day. Because it's all about bringing awareness to what? The color teal, which brings solidarity to survivors, not just one survivors, but all survivors. So this is what we want to see in the community all Sexual Assault Awareness Month. From teal things in your space, from wearing teal, from painting your nails teal. Shout out to Blue Muhammad for this Signite and this turquoise right here. So also tealing ribbons and trees in your community. If we look right over at District 7, they still have their teal ribbons from over 4 years ago. Oh yeah, Team Teal also works with all 7 districts of the Milwaukee Police Department for the last 4 years running. Because if the community doesn't work with the cops, how is the community going to feel safe enough to report? Think about it, people. And our cops need to be resourceful. So that's where we kick in, because we can navigate cultural specific organizations to our Milwaukee Police Departments and our fire departments. So again, looking for us in any way, check us out at teamteal365.com and on all of your social media outlets. We have tons of things that's going to be going on throughout the month of Sam, but you can get started now, right? In the month of March.
Yep.
And Control C is located right here in the side of Sherman Phoenix. If you want to check out this awardee here, she'll be here. If you want to check her out sometime.
Well, with that being said, I don't have to do my job anymore. because Sam is phenomenal at that. So going forward, Where I Come From podcast MK would be hosted by Sam because she knows exactly what she's doing. I'll go ahead and change everything teal for her. No, I'm just kidding, people. But no, she. With that being said, she really did close out everything. And you know what? I am. It was both been a pleasure and an honor to have you ladies in here with us today. I will make sure that these microphones stay teal all month for all my shows. So be on the lookout for every single show. And if you see the teal one, just point it out and just put, hashtag, teal.
Team Teal
Put-
365.
Just put team teal in the comments when y'all see that there.
Yes, or hashtag Sam.
Paint the City Teal Day
Yep.
2023.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna
We
put
got
that.
you.
With that being said, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into this week's episode. Make sure you check us out on all platforms. That's Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever else you listen to your pods at. Make sure you be on the lookout for everything that Team Teal 365 is doing from now until just from now on, period. Just be on the lookout, or don't,
Definitely.
particular. But definitely, make sure you check out for that bridge painting. I'm gonna be there. I'm off
Yes,
that day.
April 26th. That'll be going down on Denim Day. It's an annual event. It's gonna be beautiful. Please join us, all survivors, all allies. We'll be down
Wear
right
your
at the Home
denim.
Bridge. Yeah, and rock your denim. April 26th, Wednesday, always International Denim Day. Please join us in solidarity of survivors, male and female.
And with that being said, people, we are out of here.
Peace.
Peace.